Hey, this is Jordan Rudess with Dream Theater for QSC Audio and American Musical Supply. It all kind of started when I was 7, walking into the classroom and playing songs with my second grade class. My second grade teacher called up my mother and said, "Oh, Jordan is playing the piano so well in the classroom." And my mother was like, "What are you talking about? We don't even have a piano at home." "Are you sure? It's my son." So she said, "Yes, totally, he's playing really beautifully." So I think a week later, we had a little baby grand in the house. And my mother called up one of these local teachers to come around and spend half an hour with me once a week. So she was this kind of teacher, very loving but very temperamental, and she'd give me little kicks, little nudges if I moved my elbow up too high or played a wrong note. And so it was her mission to get me to go to Juilliard. So of course, when I was 9 and I went to audition for Juilliard and I had all Bach and Beethoven and Chopin little pieces played, I got in, but I can remember my first lesson with Catherine Parker, who was my teacher. Basically, she said, everything you know is wrong. So I was like, okay, I guess, we're starting again. One day, a couple high school friends arrived at my door holding a Moog Sonic 5 synthesizer. They just had the inspiration because they knew I was a keyboardist and they kind of wanted to turn me on to something cool. So they literally walked it to my door and my mother answered the door. And these were hippie-ish friends, and I was very straight-laced classical kind of student. So she was like, "Your friends are here and they have something. I don't know what it is." And I can remember playing a note on the keyboard and turning the knob and kind of, wow, unbelievable. Because the whole idea, I was used to pushing keys, but playing the key and then turning the knob, it was like an awakening of sorts. So I developed this whole love right away for that whole idea of not only being able to play different notes and constructing scales and harmonies and all that, but also working with the sound. When I got out of Juilliard and started to experiment with other kinds of music, this is the direction that I really was more interested in actually than rock. And the interesting thing was that when I first started playing a synthesizer, I didn't know what any of the little technical terms meant under the knobs. I only knew that if I turned this knob, it would do this sound, and if I turned this one, it would do that, and if I moved them both and I hit the wheel, it would sound like that. There's so many ways to make music these days. You could do it all on your computer. But in a way, there's no easy out there either, because you have to learn the tools and you have to have ways to make music. You have to have methods that you've developed and skills to do that. It might not be as physical as playing the keyboard, but it's still the same thing where you have to develop kind of a language. How are you going to make your music? So when I look at my life, I know it's been a very unusual path, but going from being a classical musician to someone experiencing synthesizers to getting in a rock band kind of led me to this point.
Honestly, one of the most innately gifted musicians, Jordan Rudess, everyone.